Hi guys, welcome back. We are looking through another sketchbook. So already this week I have gone through my sketchbook that I did in French. There was only about 4 different sketches basically, but I thought, you know what? 4 sketches isn't enough to warrant a sketchbook. Even though it's in one of those sketchbooks that I kind of do bits and pieces that in as I go along outside of my university career, I just thought I'd just do a proper one because we all like a good sit down and chat with a cup of tea and a bit of biscuits and just having a nice relaxing day, especially when you're off. So if you have joined me today, thank you so much for coming to my channel, and we're just going to get on. So as you can tell, this is a university book. This is Studio Module 2, book number 2. I'm not sure which year this is, but we'll just have to have a little engagement, should we say? Guess? Bingo? I don't know. Okay. So, already I can identify that this was when I was doing mostly sculpture, so it would be either year 2 or year 3, but we'll have a little go. Obviously ran out of sellotape, so I was just using masking tape to stick in some of my art research. Okay. And by the state of my sketchbook, I'm guessing this is going to be number 2. Year 2, sorry, because I have actually stuck down and written things about it, whereas my third sketchbook in my third year was just a complete mess. I didn't really have time to do much. Yeah, definitely second year, because I remember making these pots. I think it was during the February half term. I thoroughly enjoyed pottery. I feel like I want to go back to it because it's just one of those things that, well, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed, and I would like to experience once again. There is actually a pottery clay workshop in Liverpool that I could actually afford to do, but I need basically either the funds for it, the time put aside, because it is over about 6 weeks. It's about just shy of £200, which does seem a lot, but the pots and the amount of time you make, it's about a 2-hour session, so I kind of need to find an excuse to justify it. I would literally sign up to it next week if I could, but I'll need to rearrange it with my work because I need to make sure I have the time off so I can then go to Liverpool and then do it. But it's definitely something I want to do in the future because I feel like doing some workshops just to get myself ready for any sort of artwork, and it's just interesting and something to look back on. Plus I've been obsessed with the Pottery Artist of the Year. I think that's what the title is. It's basically like the British Bake Off, but it's pottery style. It's a lot less common to watch, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It's on Channel 4, I believe. If you ever get the chance to have a look at it, because some of it you're just like, oh, that's dead easy, that's fine, you can just make a pot. No. Some of them, they're making chimneys, they're making gargoyles, it's anything clay related. So that's a nice little thing. And oh, this is when I went to Ingleton Falls during the winter months. These photographs don't do it justice. It was such a lovely walk. Okay, trying to figure out collage. Well, actually, was this my third year? Yes, it was my third year because these are put up in my studio space, so it must be earlier on. I had enough time to stick everything in. So this drawing you can see down here is a live drawing, obviously, using ink of my glass sculpture, and I just did 2 realistic drawings of 2 different sides, and I went over it with just a single line to describe the outline of the artwork. Small collage, and I decided to stick in the information because I believe we did a exhibition halfway through, just of like the third years, but we were split into groups, so we had a bit of time to do that, and then I started planning what I wanted to do next. I'll just read this. I'm reading the dates etc. Issue 41, Autumn 2017. Several artists that I have previously researched and included within sketchbooks and inspiration, including Rebecca Warren, Rachel Wright-Reed, and readings on Monet, William Blake, etc. Interesting read on what makes us choose the materials and techniques, how Warren remains open and reuses her artwork to continuously ask questions in different galleries, spaces, from the mess of experience. Small doodling, and then I think this is actually taken from one of my books. It's an Egyptian book that I actually bought in Cairo when I think I was about 12 or 13 when my parents took me, before they had I think it's a civil war, I'm not sure what happened, but Sharm el-Sheikh and basically a lot of tourists couldn't go for a short while due to some conflict. And I still had the book, and I remember begging my mum and dad for it because it worked out about £20 worth, but back then that was a lot of money, so I think nowadays it'd probably be about 48 quid. But I just remember begging and getting it and just being glued to it. I love the pictures and I love reading it all. I've still got it. I've got it downstairs, and it's a really good, I don't want to say read, but it's a really good insight into what the images look like. Now and again I can read a little bit, but because it's quite hard to read in my perspective, because reading for me is a bit more difficult because I am dyslexic, so some of the words move about and it just gives me a general headache. I do still read at night. I do read a couple of pages. At the moment I'm going through the Witcher series, but it can't be something that's so difficult to read because I can't make it out in my head, and if I can't see the story in my head then I know it's too much of a difficult read. So yeah, that's a little bit of me. And then we've got some more scan in pieces. Do you find sculptures more fascinating when it's broken because you're more curious about it? I think that's the reason why behind it. This reminds me of God of War, the video game, especially when I go to see they're basically in an underground bit, and Kratos takes a jar and it has him on it, and he just smashes it because he doesn't want Atreus to be able to see it. If anyone has no idea what I'm on about, I'm also a gamer, so if you didn't get that quote, go have a look at it. Honestly, it's one of the best video games ever. Okay, so this celebrates the start of term 3. I'm trying to work out all the measurements and sides. Also, I think this bit, well, all this writing was on our artist statement. So we had to make an artist statement that I actually use this towards, well, I still use it basically when I'm doing applications. It hasn't really changed that much because what I want to do to the audience hasn't changed. So I'll read out the one I've got now, which is actually this little bit at the bottom. I said, focusing on individual decisive mark making, I consider a contrasting composition and surface texture within the artwork, representing an imitable form that compresses a natural but complex artwork. The form is constructed through partially controlled process where an intentional and accidental erosion or application continues to contribute to the state of the artwork. There is a little bit at the end about how I want the audience to be cautious that I haven't put into this bit because this is just one of the stepping stones. You can see this is a different set of handwriting. This is someone who basically had to get someone else to interview you and say, what do you like about your artwork? And you just speak about it, and then you nitpick little bits out of it to find out what statement best represents what's going on. Just a lot of writing, isn't there? Some sketches of what I want it to look like. Ripped page of random notes. Oh, that's me figuring out the process of my artist statement. I went to a random green pen. Okay, I'll read this a little bit. Another meeting today for the presentation. Next module, rest of the day is finalising the polystyrene and cuttings. Need 2 more sheets for the thinner sides of the corners. Need to be finished with the polystyrene by next week. Okay, so this is some planning for the exhibition. Maybe the little styrofoam artworks were from last year's and I just found them randomly because these are the people who I did an exhibition for. like did an exhibition with. Just a lot of writing, isn't there, compared to all the little artist research that I've done in the past. I remember originally that my sculpture was going to be enclosed, and then I realised I didn't have enough polystyrene, so I had to work around it. I still got a really lovely sense of enclosed feeling. Tomorrow, 19th of April, sketchbook images to be up to date and checked in. Last bits, I can't even read that word, for next module, any response from Rachel, otherwise I should have to start cleaning my space to make way for my artworks. Got some more collage. Collage was the thing that I kept going towards, or the medium I kept going towards whilst I was waiting in between artworks. I do still do it right now actually, when I'm in between projects where I'm either waiting for one or I'm just stuck in it, I go to something else, because then at least then I'm still churning the cogs, should we say, of the brain, and therefore I'm still continuously be able to make artwork. It might not be very good artwork because it'll be a different point of the process, but I'm still continuously making it and therefore not losing any time, because there's nothing worse than going, oh, I've just wasted all that time, I could have been like doing some artist research or anything along those lines. And here comes the photographs. This is of, well, this is actually in our studio room that we did in second year, and I just brought all the polystyrene blocks in and started putting them together, trying to work out what kind of space I wanted. And then I've got some lovely artists, paper artists actually. Crystal Wagner, if that's how I'm pronouncing her name. It looks like cardboard, so it's all like wire, and she's threaded through like paper to hold it still. I think it's only on these ones, and then the other ones it's just stuck together. Some really lovely colours though. Another gallery research. I must have gone back to see it. There was this room, it was just blue. It sounds quite straightforward, but it was like blue crystals, so it wasn't a flat surface. It was a very lovely, almost like what you expect if you went into a cave and there was like loads of crystals and that. It was like the same surface texture, but it wasn't pristine, because as you can see at the bottom where some of the powder has just fallen onto the floor, there wasn't a split contrast between the floor and the wall, and I really like that. Some more Jeremy Gardner. He likes to pop up a lot, doesn't he? I think I've literally just chosen the same artworks every single time as well. God, there's a lot of writing. Some more planning. I think that was the final plan of what I wanted, because the space I actually wanted to make was of my studio space. So if I can find a picture around here, I'll show you it. But basically it was the dimensions of my studio space, because I felt somewhat connected towards it. And because of the way I wanted some people to walk through it, it was like a figure, like a bit like a fetal position, you can see here. Just trying to work out how to put people through it. It took a while to make and build, because I had to not only put all the pieces together, but I had to use expanding foam to attach and make all the pieces stick together, so it wasn't a health and safety issue. But the funny thing is though, to get some of the blocks to stick to each other as well, when I ran out of expanding foam, I just put pencils through it, because it actually kept it quite stable. I just had some leftover watercolour pencils that I never actually used. I just always brought them along with me to make me feel a little bit more arty. So I just kind of stuck them in between. And then I had these boards for where I poured plaster into, so it would stick and hold the shape. And I'll take it away and try and build up it a bit more. But I used so much plaster. It was such a lovely nod though to all my plaster experiences, and I've just got them step by step. Oh no, that's the last page. You'll never get to see what it looks like when it's finished. But it's nice to end on a nice little sculpture piece as well. But wow, it's a nice little blast from the past. I'll go back to this page. It's nice to see much in depth my artwork process went, especially in the third year. So instead of doing lots and lots of little things like I did in the first and second year within a certain project, I was really concentrating on the nitty-gritty and all the research, and thinking more about the artwork process and the outcome. I think it was also nerves of the fact that after that year you're just saying goodbye to everything. But I hope you guys learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I always like looking back through my sketchbooks. I've actually got, my next planned one is a rather large A1 piece, or A2. No, it's A2, sorry. It's A2. And it's huge. And I know exactly which year it was. It was in college, and I believe it was in the second year of college, because my lecturer was just like, you know, I think if you have a bigger sketchbook, your thought process will be better. And I thought, it's like £15 for a sketchbook that big. And then she was like, you need to try it. So I tried it and went, oh my god, it's changed my life. But that's another video for another day. So I hope you guys look forward to that one. Not to say any of my other previous sketchbooks are rubbish, but when I was at uni, the budget was very much an issue. So that's why I went for £1 sketchbooks compared to a £15 sketchbook in college. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, well, talking through it basically. If you would like, in my description box there's links to all my social medias and also my eBay sale account, which is where you'll find all my artworks that I feature on my channel, as well as a couple of extras. There's also a PayPal donations page if you'd like to make a donation. That'd be greatly appreciated. But if not, I shall see you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, because I can tell who's watching and who isn't subscribed, because that is what YouTube is for. Bye guys.